Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Reverse 1999 reaction. Today we have Bewildered Heart. This is apparently the boss theme of version 1.6, so it has multiple phases, and I saw that there was a bunch of different individual uploads officially, but I did find this one that had like an 8-minute long video of all the phases all in one, so I'm going to use that and listen to all of it all at once. And I had a lot of comments asking me to get to this one, both individual comments and the one that had the most likes on it was also for this song, at least in part, so I decided to go with this one. And I guess without further ado, let's go! Ooh. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I'm already involved. I already love this. For those who haven't been watching my videos until Reverse stuff, I love traditional instruments from all around the world, but especially Asia. So I am 100% on board here. And it's such fun, creative playing. I did see the tag that this is like the pre-battle song, so I know we're going to be getting more into it as that changes. But what a mood setter for a pre-battle. Ooh. I know they're not going to be like perfectly transitioning between each one, but just imagine that. Love hearing the rim shots on the drums. I'm gonna be smiling like an idiot this whole time. There's so much I'm gonna want to talk about by the end of this, I can already tell. I love those string sweeps happening in that. That's. I don't know if I've heard that done yet in a game song. That's so characteristic. I think people are afraid to utilize those types of sounds. But they add such good tension, perfect for a boss theme. Still getting more and more tense. Honestly, I thought it was going to go into phase 2 there. Woo! Little motif in there. Little melody coming in. Oh man, I'm so excited to hear what comes after this now. Ooh, they do have a phase transition. You get a boss bridge. Let's go. Bringing in the big drums. Bringing in the electric guitar. I hear you. Add some extra energy. Halftime the drums, including a drum kit. Speaking of, that wasn't around yet. We had some like taiko drum samples, some more traditional percussion, but let's get a little bit more modern with it. I love how much of a natural progression this is from the prior. It didn't really change the song at all. It just added more. Keep layering stuff in there. I haven't stopped smiling, I don't think. Now it makes me wonder if they're just going to fade out or if they're going to have some sort of a transition to the end. I also don't know if we have another phase or not. There we go, bringing that motif back in. It's so pretty, dude. Alright, sounds like it's just gonna end. Gonna do a fade out, or is it gonna end on a big note? I didn't expect it to kind of like feather out a little bit like that. That was kind of a neat way to finish it off. My heart truly belongs to the instruments that exist in Asia. The traditional instrument culture over there is absolutely breathtaking. To be fair and to be open, I'm not sure where in like what amalgamated version of the real world this story takes place in. Based off of the outfits, it could easily be basically anywhere in Asia that was a couple hundred years ago or even slightly more recent. I would go with it's probably some sort of a blend of Chinese and Japanese, but that way I do not know if it's stuff like the difference between those instruments. For example, is it a koto or a guzheng? Is it a sanjian or is it a shamisen? It's very difficult to be able to tell the difference, and for the most part they are the same instruments based on the same concepts and designed very similarly. And of course, with Japan coming after China, a lot of their versions were borrowed from the Chinese equivalent, so it's just really difficult to truly tell which ones they are, so I'm not going to try to bother with that. I just want to state my overall appreciation for the music culture there, because like I was saying during the reaction, the way that they use these instruments is so creative. The things that they can do with these instruments, and I do believe there was both in there. I did believe I heard a koto-like sound, but it could have just been any zither from anywhere in the world, truly, but also that very characteristic sound of the shamisen sanjian. It could be anything. And it always kind of is a bummer because I want to get things like factually accurate as possible, but I can't tell. Just based off my ears, they are effectively the same sound. And even to the percussion, I love the sound of those drums in there. That's a very characteristic tone. The rim shots, the rim clicks on the side of a taiko is insanely characteristic, and I love the feel of it. There There's this big resonance in the main drums too, way bigger than anything you get from the West, unless you're talking about like a concert stage bass. It's way different. And I love that huge resonating feel that those drums produce, and their sounds are so flexible. Like, you don't get that rim click on a Western bass drum. You just don't. You might get a little bit of one, but even if you have one that's like 32 plus inches, you do not get the resonance that a taiko drum does, because they're designed for that resonance. They are so good at that sound. It's such an immediately recognizable tone, and I, of course, as a drummer, adore that. And this whole song is just a gigantic love letter to traditional music, and I adore that as well. As somebody who's always been a fan of Asian traditional music, it is one of my favorites, if not my favorite styles of world music and traditional sound. It is absolutely breathtaking to me, and I love hearing songs in it, so that alone puts this song very high to the top of my list. I love hearing this sort of thing, but again, kind of referencing what I said there a few times in the reaction, they had some sounds in here that just don't get used often. They had some of that flex on those stringed instruments especially, that sounded so much more available. Like, you don't hear these types of like chord scrapes and string scrapes, these hits and weird flourishes that they're doing, and it's just, you just don't get that. You really don't in any other songs. This is the first time I've heard some of those sounds, I think, in any music outside of real traditional original pieces. That's why I'm so excited about this one, is because of the creative freedom that this song was allowed. There are so many times I've heard songs from other games where I'm like, man, I would have loved to hear this sort of sound or this sort of tone, and you know that there's gotta be, at least once or twice in those cases, some dude in an office going, no, we gotta make it like relatable, we have to make it a broader audience, you can't just add these weird textures in there. Who would want to listen to that? And it's like, me, bitch, me, and a lot of other people. But they try to go for that more approachable approach, and you just kind of ruin the song as a result, in my opinion. There's a lot of songs that would totally benefit from having this level of freedom with how it was able to use its instruments. And sometimes that is just the fact that the producers are usually doing it digitally. They don't actually play these instruments, or don't have access to them, so they can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a professional player play these. Whereas when it comes to this, it most definitely sounded like either somebody had specifically a pack of samples that was made to be textures from these instruments, or they had people playing it in person, recorded that, and used it in the recordings. Using real instruments is very common in these songs across all the games that I talk about, but at the same time, sometimes you lose that characterization when you don't have the person right there doing things and allowing them that freedom to play their instrument and be an artist, you know? There's a lot of times where songs are just a little too safe, and this song isn't that, and I absolutely adore it. It is pretty standard when it comes down to the overall structure of the song. There's nothing in this that makes me go, wow, that's unique and original, but the way that it's done is what makes this song feel so good and feel original. This doesn't feel like anything else that I've heard, and I've mentioned that I think 2 or 3 times now, and I have to say it again just because it's so true. And I adore that. This has got to be one of my favorite tracks in recent memory, at least in the traditional soundscape. But I also largely feel like I'm just yapping about that. There was some great modern twists in there, like I mentioned, that electric guitar was thrown in there. The introduction of the modern drum kit was really cool. Keeping that consistency, moving up, just adding layers, not really changing anything. Overall, the structure of the song between phase 1 and 2 was almost exactly the same, but they added more instruments, added more energy, and they just had slight adjustments to make the song sound that much bigger, bolder, and braver. So I'm gonna say it one more time, but I love this song, and I don't think I can really say much more because frankly, I'm just geeking out about how good it is overall. I don't think there's really much more I can get into when it comes down to like the nitty-gritty granular stuff about music theory and such in here. This is kind of a section of music that, while I definitely appreciate it, I'm not all that well trained or versed in it. I just like to hear it, and I appreciate it when people are allowed to compose with basically a completely blank slate and no notes from producers that say, don't do that, that's weird. Because music comes to life when you just let the artist do their job and have fun with it instead of telling them no, they can't. Obviously, I don't know if that actually happened with this song, but to stop myself from yapping further, that'll be the end of this video. So thank you all so very much for watching. If you have any other songs from Reverse 1999 you want me to get to, I know I have a few in the comments that people are saying all at once. I understand that you want to comment a few all at once, but usually I can't get to multiple in one video unless they're extremely short. This being one of those examples where it had multiple shorter versions and there was a full collection out there, so I used that. But if you have songs that you want me to listen to, unless they're like under 2 minutes, try just to request one if it's like a 3+ minute video, because that's about all I can get to when it comes to the average day of doing these reaction recordings. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to follow me and support me for more stuff in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!